Hey guys, Michael the Comic Nerd here. I'm gonna try to make this quick because it's 2:45 in the morning and I'm tired. So, anyway, I just came back from the midnight showing of The Amazing Spider-Man, and I'm here to talk about what I think for a while. So, park yourself and listen up. For overall verdict, I liked it. I thought it was okay. This is definitely the most polarizing comic movie I've seen in a while. Like, some people really like it, other people hate it, like, can't stand it. I'm kind of in the middle a little bit. There's some things I didn't like about it. There was a lot I did like about it. I do think it's at the very least, worth renting. So if that's all you really want, then you can take that and be on your way. If you want details and spoilers, then keep watching. Okay, now let's start with the base. Let's get this part over with. Yes, it does retell the origin, and yeah, I wish it didn't, but you know, we got what we got, and for what it's worth, it's still good. It does try to take a different approach with the origin, which is appreciated, but again, it's still retelling the same story most of us have already seen. I guess if you're a younger generation, you've never seen any of the original movies, then I guess it's fresh for you, but for most of us, like, we've already seen this, we don't need to see it again, and even then, most kids know Spider-Man's origins, so it's not really necessary to rehash the whole thing. But I digress. It does take a different approach to it. It does focus much more on the scientific aspect of it, and it really, the movie focuses a lot on the more scientific aspect of Peter Parker in general, which is actually appreciated. In all honesty, actually, when you think about it, the Peter Parker we get in this movie actually probably resembles the Peter Parker and Spider-Man we've seen in the comic books much more than the original movies did. Now, this is definitely debatable, but just from what I see, they do seem to resemble a lot more in both character and personality-wise, and all those little quirks seem to fit much more in line with the comic books in this movie than in Sam Raimi's movies. And don't get me wrong, I love the Sam Raimi movies. I even like 3 a lot more than other people. I'm not saying I love it, but I do see some good in it. The relationships between characters in this movie is really, really good. Like, one thing I was really concerned about when I was watching the trailers is it does focus a lot on Peter Parker's father, but I was really concerned that they were going to snuff out Uncle Ben in that process, because of course Uncle Ben is the whole reason he becomes Spider-Man to begin with. But thankfully they don't. They got a really good actor. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Martin Sheen maybe. But yeah, he's very good. Him and Garfield, I'll get to him in a bit, work really well with each other. The relationship is really good, up to the point where, of course, you know, he croaks. If I have, and of course, when you talk about this, you have to talk about the leading man, Garfield, and I really liked him as Spider-Man. I thought he did a really, really good job. He's clearly has a very good idea who the character is. He clearly has an idea how to portray him. I mean, I've seen him talk in interviews. He's clearly very passionate about the characters, and it shows. Because I thought he did a very good job, with both as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man, to really bring this character to life in the way that hasn't been done before. So, I really, really liked him. In comparison to Tobey Maguire, I think I'm going to have to side with Garfield overall as better. Although, I do think that Tobey Maguire handled the Uncle Ben death scene a little better in comparison. But, yeah, but this time, Peter Parker has web shooters, and he smack talks. So, both are very appreciated changes from the original trilogy. And some of the clips actually are pretty funny. Without giving anything away, if you go see the movie, you'll see for yourself. But I appreciate it. I thought it was pretty good. I was very glad to see those part of Spider-Man's personality enter the movie universe now. Emma Stone is really good as Gwen Stacy. I really liked her. Honest to God, I haven't read too much retro stuff with Gwen. Aside from, like, watching Spectacular Spider-Man, which is one of my favorite shows, but more on that later. Or not at all, whatever. But I liked her. I thought she was very good. Her and Garfield have a lot of good chemistry together, and the romance is very good, which is to be expected from the guy who brought us 500 Days of Summer. So, and that's really what it comes down to. It's like the relationship really worked between all the characters, where the movie kind of not necessarily falls apart, but really definitely shows its weakest point is the actual Spider-Man scenes. And I guess this is pretty much, I think, what probably breaks it for a lot of critics out there. And I guess I can't really blame them, but really when it comes to Spider-Man, Peter Parker is more important than Spider-Man, easily. I would think any fan of this character will tell you the same thing. But yeah, when he actually becomes Spider-Man, when he actually starts turning into Spider-Man, a lot of the story elements really do feel rushed, especially when it comes to the little lizard. And I'll get to him in a bit. But especially the way they retell the origin, at least the part with the burglar. And this is one of my big problems with the movie, is how they handle the stuff with the burglar. It's kind of a give and take kind of thing, because on one hand, one thing I did like about it is that he doesn't find the burglar right away. Actually, spoiler, he doesn't find the burglar at all. At least if they did, I didn't notice it. But he goes on like his vendetta search for the burglar, and that's kind of how he slowly starts donning the Spider-Man persona, is in his hunt for Uncle Ben's killer. Now, that is kind of an interesting idea, but it does rob us of a very important moment in the Spider-Man universe when he actually does confront the murderer. I mean, basically, what happens in the comic books is, or just really much any other form of that tells Spider-Man's origin, is he confronts the burglar and realizes his huge-ass mistake, and he's furious, he feels guilt-ridden, and he can and should kill the bastard, but he doesn't because A, of his own moral values, and B, because of what Uncle Ben has told him, of course, with great power comes great responsibility. He doesn't kill him because he knows he wouldn't approve of that. And the better man rises as a result and becomes Spider-Man. That moment is when he realizes that Spider-Man is what he must be for Uncle Ben's memory and for the betterment of New York. And because he thinks he owes it to the people of New York. And that is a very important moment in Spider-Man, and we don't really get it here. So that was a little disappointing. They tried to replace it, kind of, with the bridge scene, which was seen in all the trailers. You know, where the cars are flipping around, and Spider-Man has to save a little kid out of a car that's hanging off the bridge. And that, by the way, is a very, very good scene. But it doesn't quite have the same impact. That's not to say all that stuff was bad. Like, the way Garfield initially reacts, like, the aftermath of Uncle Ben's death, I thought all that stuff with him in high school, I thought all that was very good. I liked how he had a very difficult learning curve with the Spider-Man powers, which led to some very funny moments, by the way. I liked how he took the time, it took time to really, like, train, how to learn how to use them, use it appropriately, and learn how to master them. I thought all that was very good. The burglar stuff bothered me, but really, it is kind of a big thing, but it's not enough to kill the movie. And, yeah, the cast is really good. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I'm tired, my brain's scattered. Let's talk about what's really gonna polarize people, which is the lizard. Now, the design for this character is either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. Personally, I liked it. I actually thought it worked pretty well, given the standards. Unfortunately, Lizard is also one of the movie's biggest flaw is. Now, the actor portraying him is very, very talented. He does a very good job with what he's given. And I like his relationship with Peter Parker. But, that being said, once he becomes the Lizard, a lot of interesting ideas are introduced, but are very hastily explored, if at all, and that whole plotline's kind of rushed through. Because what it is he's kind of got a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on. Fuck, where's the light? I have a controller, my controller's around here somewhere. I'm using the Xbox as an extra light at the moment, in case you're wondering. Oh, well, fuck it. But, where was I? Ah, yes, Lizard. I liked damn it all, this is gonna drive me crazy. Oh, whatever. Okay. Okay, so I liked how the, I like they try to give the lizard motivation. The reason for doing what he's doing. I like that. Compared to, like, what they did with the Green Goblin in the first movie, which was just kind of like, I'm evil, rawr! It does kind of do a similar thing they did with the Green Goblin in the first movie, though, is they did kind of give him the Jekyll and Hyde personality. Although it's very, very hastily explored. Like, what happens is when he injects himself with the lizard serum, and of course it turns into the lizard, like, that part of his personality, that the evil part kind of starts to implant ideas into Connor, and that slowly starts to turn him into the evil villain that he is by the end of the movie. Unfortunately, and the whole idea behind the lizard is that, and it is foreshadowed in the movie, where it's like Connors wants to make everyone equal. He wants to basically get rid of outcasts because he himself is an outcast. That's interesting. I like that. But it's not really explored at all, and that kind of carries over into the lizard, where he wants to turn everyone to lizard people so that no one will be left out, no one will be an outcast, and no one will be really ridiculed for disfigurement or whatever. And while that's an interesting idea, it's very hasteful. It's not really explored at all, and I really liked to have seen it explored. But it's really just kind of presented there as motivation and then kind of brushed under the rug, which I found very disappointing. It could have been so much more interesting. I guess it could have been so much more interesting. But I digress. The action scenes are good, depending on how much. It's very CGI heavy, and it's very obvious that it's CGI. But you know what? It's still okay by my book. I liked it. I really like how Spider-Man moves in this movie. I mean, I know it's kind of a weird thing to comment on, but especially comparing to the previous movies, in this one he moves a lot more like Spider-Man. Like he definitely appears to be more acrobatic. He's using more of his whole body. Like everything's moving much more in sync than in the previous movies. Now, I'm not saying the previous movies were bad at all, but this one, it seemed to move more fluidly, which I really liked. Yeah, Spider-Man elements are really rushed. I was kind of unfortunate by that. Peter Parker stuff's really good. I really like what they're teasing at the end of the movie. And any comic fan of Spider-Man will recognize the famous storyline they kind of tease at here. It could have been done better, yes. I still liked what I got, and I do really like where they're kind of going with it. So I guess if I get a final verdict on this, I'm gonna try to wrap this up because it is late. I thought it was good. I think it has a lot of potential. So I'm really curious to see what they do with future films. I think it has a lot of potential. I think it could be great. The series could be great, or it could tank. It's really kind of in that middle ground right now, where it can go either way. Personally, I think if they start taking more risks and start delving more into these characters, I think it'll keep getting better and better as the movies go on, and I can't wait to see what they do with that, if that's the case. Of course, there's always that risk in like Spider-Man 3 and completely fucking tank, but I'd say it's off to a good start. Not a great start, but a good start. And I'll be curious to see what they do with sequels. I heard they're already working on like 2 and 3 right now, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm intrigued, and I'll probably see the next movie when it comes out. And that's about it. So talk to y'all later.